Clothes designer Heather Banharima fell in love with Marrakesh over 20 years ago. From humble beginnings, she now lives in this stunning house about 10 miles outside the city. Her husband Abdul is a tour guide who actually met former Wish You Were Here presenter Kat Deely when she was here in 2000.
When I first came to Morocco in 1987, I came on a charter flight and I was staying in Riyadh in the Medina. I was having a drink with my friends and they said, "You must meet our guide Abdul, he's absolutely wonderful." And along comes the man that I had noticed as I was walking into the bar.
And that's me.
Here he is. And we spent the next week visiting Morocco with him.
And we found out that we actually loved each other, and then she came back and here she is now.
But I think Abdul thought that I was just coming back for a couple of weeks. And
Yes.
I got to the airport and he said to me, "Oh, it's so lovely to see you, so glad you came back. How long are you staying?" And I said, "Forever, dear."
Once married, the two of them worked their way up the property ladder, buying this plot of land in 2001.
Well, we first thought about buying land in Morocco, I think after we'd been here for about 10 years. We'd been renting until then and sort of saving money and having children, etc. We started looking for land within the Marrakesh area. Then one day, I was in England and my husband was in...
I was in Fez.
You were in Fez, weren't you? Yeah. And a friend of his came out to this land and he called him and he said...
He said, "There's a piece of land for sale just outside Marrakesh, very cheap. I'm going for one piece. Would you like me to see if I can get you another piece?" I said, "Go ahead." And it did cost 350,000 dirhams, and that's what I paid for this land.
Yeah, it's about £20,000.
20,000 pounds for it.
Yeah. The first thing we did when we bought the land is we built our swimming pool and we built a little house at the end of the garden. We thought it'd be a really good idea to have a little place that we could stay for weekends. And we watched the house being built, and it was quite nice because when I wanted to come and control what the builders were doing, then I could just come here, have a cup of tea, and then stroll down to the house, tell the people what they needed to do, and then come back here and relax.
Once work was finished, Heather and Abdul were finally able to move into the magnificent main house.
Well, this room is our main seating area, and it's the first part of the house that you enter. And I wanted to create a feeling of space. My favourite period for decoration is Art Deco. And as you can see, we've got a bit of an eclectic mix going on here of Art Deco, African. Okay, so we have an African table, we have chairs from the 30s, we have Moroccan textiles. The sofa, for example, this was actually built from breeze blocks. And what we did is we built the sofa and then we covered it with this fine marble effect, which is called tadlact, which was the traditional method of waterproofing bathrooms in Morocco, and hammams, local hammams. And it's a big decoration feature in lots of houses now. Well, this is my favourite place in the entire house. We built the kitchen so that we could entertain and cook and be with our friends at the same time. So we quite often invite, 6 or 7 friends around here, and then we all sit and eat at the kitchen table.
Designing and building such a spectacular house took a lot of hard work and a lot of time.
We finished building the property 3 years ago, but so we started 7 years ago, and probably it would be in the 200,000 to 300,000 pounds
Yeah.
to build with the land, etc. And look what you get for that money. However, property prices have gone up quite a lot in Morocco since, mainly because there's a lot of foreign investment in the property market. But when we bought the land and when we built the house, we managed to get an awful lot for our money. If I were to give any advice to British people moving here, I would say pick up a French dictionary. It's really useful. But also, just be very careful. It's great to buy property in Morocco, and there are some wonderful places to buy. But be very careful. Check out the paperwork. Get yourself a good lawyer when you buy land here. If you do all of these things, then things go really smoothly, and it's a great place to buy.
Having lived in Marrakesh for 20 years, Heather has plenty of suggestions for first-time visitors.
One of my top tips for people coming to Marrakesh, or one of a few, would be to get a guide when you first come here. Get yourself a guide and visit the Medina. then you're more confident to actually go and visit the Medina yourself. The other thing I would say is that you should also think about exploring outside of the Medina. Take a caleche, which is a horse-drawn carriage, take it out to the Palmery and go around and watch the most beautiful sunset in Marrakesh in the evening. Stop and have a mint tea in one of the cafes around there. It's just a really lovely thing to do. I don't think I would ever go back to England. When I think of just the wonderful life that I have here, with, you know, a lovely family, a beautiful home, great people that I work with, and just a fabulous lifestyle, I can't even imagine going back to the UK.
This idyllic home, which they also run as a guest house, is a world away from the mayhem, traffic and noise of Marrakesh's old town. But it's this explosion of colour and life that makes it such a special place.